Hello and thank you for tuning in. If you have any shoulder conditions such as shoulder impingement, bursitis, tendonitis, etc., these are some exercises that are great for managing those conditions. So these exercises will focus on muscle groups that are typically weakened, and as a result, muscle imbalance occurs, followed by postural distortions and injury or pain. So we're going to focus on the rotator cuff group, middle and lower traps, rhomboids, and serratus anterior. Now note, if you're doing an exercise and experience pain or discomfort, do not continue doing that exercise. Muscle fatigue is okay, but pain is not. Also, remember to release muscle tension prior to doing any of these exercises. You'll want to make sure you're releasing muscle tension in all the muscles mentioned in this video, and I have several videos on muscle release techniques, so please be sure to check those out if you're not familiar with how to release muscle tension in these muscles. That being said, let's check these out.
With shoulder impingement, one of the first exercises we want to do is this shoulder pendulum here. We want to do this to help increase the subacromial space and create some separation in there so we're not getting that compression. And what I am doing here is I'm doing circles going inward and outward, and then I'm going forward and back like I'm doing here. Again, this is to increase that subacromial space. It's always one of the first exercises you want to begin with for shoulder impingement management. Shoulder rotations, this one you want to make sure you're rotating at the shoulder joint. You're going to be tempted to move your wrist and not your shoulder, but you can see here I'm rotating that whole joint, okay? So it's going inward and outward, all right? So we're getting some stability in there and also getting some space in that shoulder as well. So this is a good exercise to do. You don't need anything too heavy when you do this exercise. Just keep it light and get that good range of motion. All right, external rotation. This is one of the most important exercises for your rotator cuff muscles. This is going to target the infraspinatus and teres minor, so those external rotators of the shoulder. This exercise is one you're going to want to do forever, okay? Especially when you're doing upper body workouts or you have upper body exercises. You're going to want to warm up with some form of external rotation. This is a good one to do. You're not doing it heavy. You're doing very light for about 12 to 15 reps. You're just doing it to warm the muscles up. You're not going to be doing them till fatigue, okay? So just do the light resistance. Again, 12 to 15 reps. Always start any upper body workouts with external rotation. This is another variation of an external rotation. So you're holding your arm up. Your elbow's going to be about 90 degrees, and you're just going to externally rotate in this way here. Okay, another variation of external rotation. We're going to face the machine or face a resistance band, and we're going to externally rotate that shoulder. Again, keep that elbow in the same position. Okay, you're pulling back. See my arm pulling the band upward and back in that fashion there. Okay, elbow is staying again in the same location. And that is another external rotation exercise. Now, internal rotation. This is obviously for the internal rotators of the rotator cuff muscles. We got the subscapularis and the subscapularis. We are going to hold the band on the inside arm, and we're going to keep that elbow in as well, and we're going to bring that band towards our stomach. Okay, this is for those internal rotators. Same with the external. We want to make sure we're strengthening these guys before we do any upper body exercises. This is another variation of internal rotation, similar to the external rotation with that 90-degree elbow. We are going to do the same thing with the internal rotation here. So keep that elbow up, try not to point it out or in, just keep it nice and level right there. And you're going to pull the band inward. Okay, this is an internal rotation exercise. It's a great variation to add into your workouts. Now, I wanted to throw this one in. This is just a variation of a external rotation. If you don't have access to long bands, you can use a loop band, and you're just going to do some external rotation here. This one is a good one to do if you're at home and you need to get a quick external rotation in. Perfect exercise you can do using this band. And again, it's just another variation I decided to throw in there for those of you that may not have access to a long band. All right, now we're going to move on to the upper back muscles. So we got the rhomboids, we have the middle trap, we have the lower trap, and we're also going to get some rear deltoid. So with the upper back exercises, the most important thing we need to remember is we need to keep our shoulders down, okay? So we don't want our shoulders to creep up into our ears, because that means we are going to get more upper trap compensation, which we do not want. So keep your shoulders down. And when you do these movements, you want to initiate the movement by squeezing those shoulder blades, so squeezing those back muscles, and then bringing your arms, okay? So you squeeze those shoulder blades and then bring the arms along to the party, okay? So this is a good back exercise. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a series of WTAs. The first one is going to be the W, so we're going to make a W with our arms. Palms are going to be facing in. This is going to be a rhomboid exercise. You're also going to get some middle and lower trap in there. And you're just going to pull back, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and pull the band back. Okay, so squeeze and pull. Again, we're leading with our back muscles for this exercise. You feel some great back activation. Now we have the T's. So the T's, we're going to have our arms in a T position. We're going to have our thumbs facing back. And the same thing with the other back exercise. We're going to initiate the movements by squeezing our shoulder blades together and then pulling the band backwards. Again, we are going to get some good back activation in those rhomboids. We're going to get some activation in those traps. And you want to make sure that you are popping your chest out. Okay, so let your chest pop out as you're squeezing those shoulder blades together. Now we have the A's. Okay, so we're gonna let our arms hang out at a slight angle, and we are going to pull the band back by again squeezing our shoulder blades. This one we're going to get a little bit deeper, so we're going to get more down into the mid back into the lower back as well as we're doing our exercise here. You can see my chest coming out nice and high, so you want that chest to come out and up, and we want to squeeze down our entire spine. Okay, so this is a great one to get some back activation in those lats. You'll get some trap activation as well. Okay, this is a good one for those muscles. Make sure you are squeezing and holding to get more activation. Single arm underhand rows. Okay, this is another row alternative. We can do some single arm exercises, especially if it's one side that's more affected than the other as far as discrepancy in strength. We can get some good activation here. Okay, we're going to initiate that movement by squeezing that shoulder blade yet again. You can see those back muscles activating there, and then the arm is going to follow. Again, this is another option that we can do for our back. Now we're going to move on to the serratus anterior. Now this is a muscle that's very subtle, okay? So you may or may not feel activation as you're doing these exercises, but just know that they are working, they are engaging. So what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together, and the action that these serratus muscles do is that they push outward like I'm doing right there. Okay, so you're pushing those shoulder blades out and up as high as you can and getting that serratus anterior activation. All right, this version of the serratus anterior exercise is a resistance band around the hands and your shoulders, and you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together and then push them out as far as you can. Okay, this one you may feel a little bit more activation in the serratus anterior, but again, you may not. But again, this is a good one to do for your serratus anterior. You're keeping your arms straight as you're doing these as well. So don't let your arms bend, you're keeping them straight. You're just squeezing the shoulder blades and pushing them apart.